It was a nice hoodie.
It was
a nice Scully.
Yeah, it was really nice. I was impressed.
Well, it is. You do what you can do. Look, my team got to the AFC Championship. We'll talk about that later. We're live. We're live right now.
You gonna go there with it? Okay. All right.
Wait, are we live? Hello?
Yeah, we live. Right. It's been a long time.
Oh, we're live. Oh,
you just came late to the party. That's all.
Yeah.
We left some nachos for you.
Yep, y'all been on the couch. It's a nice groove in it. It's funky. Somebody done farted and tried to capture it. I ain't gonna say which one, but one of y'all got up to get something, and all of a sudden it released a whole
Raw Dawg. Raw Dawg.
You're a bing bong. I said, that must be true.
Yeah. I came in mad. There's no eye contact.
Hey, Drew, you want some nachos?
Sure.
My bad. They're vegan. They're vegan.
There was some broccoli and just threw it on the table. Here, niggas.
Welcome to the party.
And welcome into the Barber Shop 918. You up in here with your man, Bigg Dru.
Bigg Dru.
J-Rocc.
Boom.
And the one and only Raw Dawg. We got a jam-packed show for you today.
Packed with jam, baby.
And a little bit of jelly. Coming up, we're going to talk about the NFL. We got to get into the Super Bowl and what went down championship week, because we weren't here last week. And like we said, it's been a long time. So,
should have got you, sorry.
Yep, and we got a hood topic that's kind of serious today. We're going to talk about the assault of the young man that just recently took place. We got to talk about serious issues every now and then. And we also are going to get into a little bit of Thunder talk. We got our struggle face of the week. And, of course, the world-class word on the streets.
Now?
You know what? You can do it now. Go for it.
Word on the street. It's the sweet one.
Boom! That boy good.
If I don't get a record deal out of this, man, I don't know what I'm going to say, bro. That's all I'm going to say.
Word on the street is when we talk a little bit about music, television, and movies. So right now we're going to kick it off with a little bit of music news. We're going to kick it first to J-Rocc with some box office stuff, but then we're going to go ahead and go to Raw Dawg because he's got some special music news that I think is going to be interesting.
Get some stuff off my chest. Go ahead, Jay.
He got Vicks and everything just ready for it to just all come up.
All right. On the Billboard charts this week of the albums, coming in at number 10 is Travis Scott, Astro World. Number 7, Post Malone, Beer Bongs and Bentleys. Number 6, fresh off his Saturday Night Live performance, Meek Mill with Championship. 21 Savage is coming in at number 5 with I Am, Greater Than I Was. And then we got number 3, A Boogie with the Hoodie. He was previously number 1.
That's Ace Boogie, not A Boogie.
A Boogie with the Hoodie.
It's A Boogie with a Hoodie. I'm sorry.
Hoodie Season. And then the number 1 album in America belongs to Future Hendrix. The Wizard debuted at number 1. It is a somewhat okay album. I see he's trying to get out of his record deal so he can pay back Rocco the Don, and he can move on with his life. That's all I got for the Billboard charts.
No Carl Weathers? Not Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers got a new album out?
Apollo Creed?
It's called The Return of Action Jackson.
Action Jackson? Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
I think he's got to be our new Ben Vereen. Like, we've got to start quoting Carl Weathers from now on.
Is Carl Weathers still alive? Is he alive?
Yes. So. He was in Creed, too.
No, not really, bro. Was he?
Yeah, they reenacted that scene, him and Rocky. You know, with all these cameras and everything, it was real fancy.
Carl Weathers died, bro. I don't think he's alive, man.
Carl Weathers is still alive.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, just in case he is, shout out to Carl Weathers and Ben. I don't think he's still alive, but
happened.
I'm gonna Google it because I don't think he's still alive.
Yeah, Google it.
He ain't made a movie in how long? The one with Adam Sandler was the last movie he did.
And
that was like the 90s. That's like 2000.
Is this how you want to spend your time in the word on the street music section?
Sorry. Anyway, okay. So My birthday just came up recently, and I had the pleasure of going to the Tony Braxton concert here in Tulsa at the River Spirit Casino. So it was Tony Braxton, and opening up for her was SWV. Let me tell you something. SWV, when the sisters with voices, that's real. Them sisters blew us out, man. I mean, it was an amazing performance. Coco is the real deal. She actually did a version of "If Only You Knew," which is the black woman's national anthem. Let me tell you something. She killed it. And then Tony comes on stage. I'm not sure what was going on with Tony, but I know she does the mumble thing, but it was ridiculous this time. Don't get me wrong. She looked great. But how long can you stare at a woman before you go, okay, I need to be entertained? And she wasn't entertaining at all. I mean, no disrespect to Tony Braxton fans out there, but nobody's gonna hear an hour of that, man. I fell asleep, Doc. I fell asleep. It ain't because I'm old, because I was bored. Hey, man, shut up, man. I was bored. And when I get bored, I go to sleep. So, Tony, I love you, but maybe you're just better off doing a reality show. You shouldn't be doing any more concerts, babe. She should open up for SWV because they killed it. I'm so into you. Don't know what I'm
gonna do.
Boy, you got me so confused. I don't know what to do.
All right. I think
you're not mine. I can't deny.
Okay. I think for me, I somewhat agree with. I've never had a high hope that Toni Braxton. I never thought that she could sing, and unfortunately, the appeal that she had for me when I was younger was that I was attracted to her. It was not that I thought she had a great song. I can't really think of it.
Lust in your heart for her.
What's the hand motion?
Oh, gosh.
Is this what lust looks like and feel like? What is?
That's the official sound for lust. Lust in your heart.
When it comes out of my heart, that's the only way to handle it.
Because it's unwieldy, you know. It's a lot of it.
Lust hands. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Use that one in the next sermon, sir.
I will. You got lust hands, boy.
Lust hands. All right, that's all I got.
All right, so it's time for us to talk about. It's actually on you. So
it's me again.
Yeah, it's you again. It's time for us to talk.
Show, baby.
You pull out your lust hands. Let's get it going.
All right, the weekend box office. At number 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen that movie, you should. I highly recommend it. At number 4 is The Kid Who Would Be King. Anybody know what that's about?
Nah, I ain't never heard of it.
Yeah, well. At number 3 is Aquaman, still making money.
Good movie.
Is it? I haven't seen it.
It's got a black villain in it. It's pretty interesting.
Really? Who's the guy playing the villain?
I don't know his name. He's a young actor, but his dad was the guy from Soul Food who cheated on his wife.
Michael Beach?
Is that his name?
Michael Beach is the guy from Soul Food.
That cheated. No, you talking about the what?
The black dude. He's in a lot of movies.
Michael Beach. That was the guy who cheated on Soul Food. He's also in Love on Beale Street. He slapped his wife in the movie. Tripped me out.
You saw the Beale Street movie?
I fell asleep in the movie. Me and my wife, we fell asleep for the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Are you serious?
Snoring. Both of us.
That's supposed to be one of the best movies of the year, and y'all fell asleep?
I don't know. I think it was the popcorn, but I fell asleep.
That popcorn is loaded with diabetes.
Them seats are comfortable, boy.
I was there, and they literally poured like the butter into the thing that pops it, and then poured it on top. I was like, hold on, the same oil you use to cook it is what you actually are pouring on there and telling me it's butter.
Is that lust in your blood?
It's just lust through my arteries.
It's like Big Mama's gravy. Big Mama's gravy.
I was so upset.
At number 2 is The Upside with Kevin Hart. Still making money, made 11 mil. And number 1 is Glass. Y'all know what Glass is, right? Yeah. It's still number 1. Was number 1 last week, number 1 this week. Top 3 this week. Same top 3 movies last week. But I do want to point out that Green Book went from 14 to 6. this
All
week.
right.
Yeah. And movie you were just talking about, Jay.
Love on Bill Street.
Love on Bill Street. Where is that
If
at?
Bill
It's
Street
somewhere.
could talk.
If Bill Street could talk. Yeah, where'd you get Love on Bill Street from?
I
Like
think I was
Love and
thinking Laurel
Basketball
Avenue.
slash-
That
What
was
was
on
you
HBO.
at? Was you at the Sand Springs Theater?
No.
You saw a bootleg at a movie theater.
If Bill Street could talk is at number 23, and it was at 16 last
I
week.
said Love on Bill Street. Oh yes.
Jay,
I
go
don't.
read
I
the
think
book,
that's a.
man. You're an educated man.
Black Klansman is back on the charts at number 36.
I noticed that they put it. It's in Redbox, right? I noticed they put it
Yeah,
back
that's
in
why I
the
watched
movie
it at.
theaters here.
They put it back in theaters, yep,
Yeah,
because of the Oscar consideration. Absolutely.
might as well. It was one of the best movies no one ever got a chance to see.
And it's an amazing movie.
You know,
Now, as far as movies coming out this Friday, there's only one that has my interest, and that's Miss Bala with Gina Rodriguez. Who
Oh
I
yeah, that looks like it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Gina Rodriguez.
are you?
I am.
Name
I love
some of
her
her
acting.
work.
Huh?
Name some of her work.
Name a top five.
Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious 1. Fast and Furious 5.
You notice how you said Fast and Furious twice as one?
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, even though she wasn't in it.
200 Tokyo
He knows too. He's got the whole box set at home.
Hey man, I like Gina, man. So anyway, that's it for the movie news, baby.
There's a question I got about. Go ahead. Let's talk about the Oscars first. I'm gonna get into that later.
Well, Black Klansman has 6 nominations. And I saw Spike Lee on the Tonight Show the other night, and at first he said, I'm not one of them guys that likes to be validated, but it would be nice to win one. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. If you have the chance to win an Oscar, you're gonna want it. You'll take it. You're not gonna be political and go, "Oh, leave it there," because no. As much as we say we don't want to be validated by, those people,
The
Academy, we do. We want to be validated.
Yeah, I think. But let me ask you this:
Colonizers.
If Spike Lee was to win one of these awards, we would feel like it's just due to some extent. But is it? And this is not me hating on Spike Lee because I like some of his movies. What movies has he had in the past that you feel should have won an Oscar?
Do the Right Thing.
Malcolm
X.
Malcolm X in particular because it was such a sprawling movie. You know what I mean? He covered such a huge, massive time, but yet he was able to pay so much detail to each moment in Malcolm's life. And even Malcolm's death, Spike Lee just went poetic on that, man. As violent as his death was, the way Spike shot it was extremely poetic and just unbelievable. He got no love for Malcolm X that he should have.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Should have gotten some consideration, as well as a lot of people say Do the Right Thing because that's just like a cult classic. But why?
Now, what's nominated? It was nominated for best screenplay.
Oh, okay.
I think it was nominated, but it didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I just wanted to take a look at it and just say, okay, does he have a bias? Because, it got rough there for a minute.
Well, like in the last 10 years, he was just doing some BS, man. He really was, honestly. I mean, let's not forget that one he did, J-Rocc, that was a piece of garbage. Literally a piece of garbage.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about J-Rocc.
One of the most awkward moments of my life, I went to go see Girl 6 with my dad.
Oh, I saw Girl 6 at the theater. You went with your dad?
Yeah, we didn't know.
What was her name? Teresa Randall?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was awkward.
It's an awkward movie, man. They talk about stuff that you just shouldn't be talking about.
Well, I didn't know, and I think after a while, I was just like, I was wait like as a young kid, I'm wait like there's this part of you that's like, yeah, I want to keep watching this, right? Because Lust Fingers, right?
Yeah, the Lust Fingers.
And so I was sitting there in the theater like, ooh, I want to keep watching this.
This is the Lust Fingers episode. Just put it there. This is the Lust Fingers episode.
I will rename the show the Lust Fingers episode.
Just nasty.
Go ahead.
He Got Game.
I liked He Got Game.
It wasn't Oscar worthy.
That's
Ray
not
Allen was
Oscar-worthy.
horrible in that
It
movie.
would win a Hood Award because it was real hoodish.
Yeah.
He Got Game was real hoodish, man. But I don't think it was worthy of an Oscar. Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, and I have a special affinity for Mo Better Blues.
Yeah, I like that movie too. What about She Hate Me? Wasn't that one that was?
Oh, see that one.
Jungle Fever.
I like She Hate Me, and people don't like that movie. But I have a special affinity for that one too.
And that
I bet you
introduced us
do.
to Anthony Mackie, and I kind of liked. That's where I started liking him. What's the sexual content to it, man? So that's why we're saying. I think that's why Jay is saying because he's talking about your
The lust hands,
yeah.
the lust in your heart. But She Hate Me. I like first of all, the movie wasn't just about that. It was about so much more than that. It was about corruption. You know what I mean? And being the whistleblower. You know what I mean?
Chris got one good one there with Bamboozle.
See, that one was good too, man. Bamboozle was real good.
I think that was over a lot of people's heads. And
it was before its time.
Yeah.
And I think what throws it off is that Damon Wayans' acting was over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get what Damon was going with, but it just seemed like he was just playing. It didn't seem like he was a real character.
Chris said 25th Hour too. Hey, did Spike do Clockers?
He did.
Because I remember it was someone else's movie, but they at the last minute he came in and took it over.
He did Clockers. He really did with Mekhi Phifer.
No, wasn't that Bokeem?
I'm sorry. No, that's Mekhi Phifer. Wasn't that Mekhi Phifer?
He was Mekhi Phifer.
I know you get Bokeem and Mekhi mixed up because they two dark bald-headed dudes.
No,
but that was Bokeem wasn't in that one.
Bokeem was in Caught Up.
Oh, okay. I'm mistaken Caught Up for Clockers. That's the problem.
No. Was that Caught Up? It was Caught Up.
Caught Up was
one that was like Caught Up, but it was Tyrese Gibson.
Oh, the one with the game?
Yeah. What was that called? Caught Up? What was that one?
I don't know.
I forgot what it was called.
But the movies were very similar.
Yes, they were. Somebody got kidnapped and everything.
Yep, it was very similar.
Chocolate Moon.
Yeah.
What?
Jesse, stupid man.
What'd he say? What did Jesse say, man?
Chocolate Moon. That was what Mekhi Phifer was drinking in the movie.
Yeah.
That was his name? Chocolate
he had a weak
They
stomach.
were like fake Yoo-Hoos or something.
I got you. I haven't seen Clockers in so long, dude.
In all of this, what we're missing is the factor that Delroy Lindo deserves an Oscar.
For his name alone.
For being LeBron James' daddy and for Crooklyn. For the daddy on Crooklyn.
Crooklyn is a movie that's great, man. We need to celebrate Crooklyn more often.
You know what? Crooklyn gets no love, man.
It was
Crooklyn,
great.
It's my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, Crooklyn was great.
Yeah.
All right, so what else?
But doesn't Delroy Lindo pretty much play the same character?
I'm okay with it. I'm always there for it.
Except in Malcolm X. He was a hood in Malcolm X. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was a gangster in Malcolm X.
And my whole life, Delroy Lindo been old, too. Like, he's just like Morgan Freeman. He been that same age.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Delroy Lindo. He don't get no props, man.
It's a handful of people that just need an Oscar just because. Maybe they create a hood division of the Oscar.
All right. It was Strapped. It was Strapped. It wasn't Clockers. It was Strapped.
Oh, okay.
That was the movie. That was the movie that Bokeem Woodbine was in. It was an HBO movie with. Huh?
Was that the one with LL Cool J?
No, it wasn't LL Cool J. It was Fredro Starr from Onyx. It was Strapped.
Strapped. Now
I got the movie.
Tyrese was in Caught Up, wasn't it?
No, he was in Waist Deep.
Waist Deep. Well, what's Caught Up?
Caught Up was the Bokeem Woodbine movie where he got out of jail and Clifton Powell was the crooked cop who was like a handyman. And we're veering off the show.
Yeah, we
talking about low budget 90s movie.
Let's move on, sir. Congratulations to Spike, man, for getting nominated for his Black Klansman. A very, very well made movie, man. And also for the people that are responsible for Black Panther. They got nominated. By the way, I went out and bought a whole bunch of Black Panther comic books. You'd be proud of me, Drew.
Oh, pretty cool.
I got the what's his name? Coates. I
Yeah,
got
I
his.
always just say Coates. I
Yeah.
hope to interview him for my documentary, and then I will practice his first name. Till then, it's
I
like
can't say his first name.
Tanasi.
Tanasi?
I think that's as close as I get, but then that sounds kind of lust fingers.
Takashi.
You got lost in the heart.
Tanasi. You know, so
Shut up, Jesse.
What Jesse saying, man?
I can't repeat it.
the game played a dude named Big Meat. He did in Waist Deep.
Hey, don't be saying I'm seeing stuff on our timeline, Jesse.
Can we move on to sports? Can we move on to or something?
All right. So real quick, we got to go over to television real quick, and let's just the Fire documentaries is an interesting thing that is on both. There's one on Hulu and there's one on Netflix. Two separate ones. The one on Hulu is made by an independent documentary company who just investigated who wants to tell the truth. Where the one on Netflix is made by the company that actually helped promote the event. So it has a skew that kind of puts them in the right. So it does have a skew.
Not really.
Well, because no one can be in the right in this, but it doesn't mention their
what
part.
they did is they had a lot more access because they were filming the whole time they were doing this, because they was gonna, film this big event. So the one on Netflix, you see it falling down. Yeah. You see things happening as it's happening, going bad. And the fact that this guy, after all that, was still, after he went on parole, well, after he actually bonded out, he went on to another thing where he was ganking people, man. Yeah. For tickets and stuff.
Well, he's in prison for a reason, but they say when he gets out, he's going to make another comeback. In all of this, though, you know how controversy comes. R. Kelly, we find out, molest all these children. His music sales go up. Ja Rule, we find out, hustle somebody. Nobody's out listening to Ja Rule right now. Why didn't this work for Ja Rule?
You cry. No, I cry.
His name is Ja. His name is Ja.
This is
every little thing that we do.
Like Ashanti was hoping that this would something good would come from this. Nope, he let
so that they could go on tour again.
Nobody gives a damn about Ja Rule. This is how much they don't care about Ja Rule. Ja Rule got no charges against him. They're like, oh, that's Ja Rule. Oh, let him go. He ain't nobody. That's how much they care about Ja Rule, bro. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's a bad day.
And he's like, I got ganked too. I'm like, no, you didn't. Because
shut up, fool.
They have him in a meeting after it all went down going, we got to put a good coat of paint on this. This is just bad press. What can we do to change this around? I mean, nobody died. That's what he said, word for word. So he was in on it. Jeffrey Atkins.
I still don't even know, man. There's part of me that I don't want to reduce this man's intelligence down, but there's a part of me that's like, was he smart enough to be in on that? I don't know.
I don't know, man. But all I'm saying is at that meeting, he was really trying to get them to cover everything up, and that to me that says a lot, bro. That says a lot.
Yeah, he's a guy who's scared to go to jail again.
Again.
And again.
Yeah, because there's somebody waiting on them in jail, bro.
Hey, where's Irv Gotti? Anyway,
good question.
All right, so it's time for us to shift. It's time for us to shift into the one thing that we know we got to talk about: NFL.
Yes. Yes.
Got lost in my heart for the NFL. I couldn't even say it. I spit all on my.
That's what Jerry Jones wants you to do. Man. Just be a fiend for it. Go ahead, do what Master wants.
Take a bump for Master.
All right, so for me, I'll put it to you like this. I'm not going to make any excuses and say the refs blew the game for the Chiefs. I'm not going to say any of those things because they've all been said. And if you was watching the game with the volume down, you saw an objective game. If you was watching it with Tony Romo, you were at the Romo show. He decided to do, but it is what it is. Tom Brady, it is what it is. The Chiefs' defense is. All I can say is it is what it is. I hope that LA wins just because I hate Tom Brady. Is that good enough for you guys?
No, I'm just saying the Patriots are always the best villain
Yeah,
in the
they
Super
are.
Bowl.
They're the Thanos of the NFL. It's,
They're real easy to cheer against, and the Rams are. I mean, that's my daughter.
well,
What's up, Riri?
I don't know what's happening.
to me, the Rams are full of a cast of people that you would hate on an individual level. Like their secondary are not likable people. Like I do not
Marcus Peters.
Yeah,
nobody likes him.
Yeah, nobody likes their secondary at all. Jared Goff's not really all that likable. He has a punchable face, but
like Eli Manning. Continue.
Yeah, but you
yes.
absolutely want him to beat Tom Brady. Like this is, I think outside of their running back, there's not one person on the Rams team that I really want to root for. Like not a fan of Kinsu. Well, I like what's the big pass rusher they got?
Aaron Donald. Yeah.
He's a solid player. But other than that, man, but I still want them to win just because I just don't like Tom Brady, man. Like I actually kind of like Gronk, but because of his association with Tom Brady, something got to be wrong with his character if he's friendly with that guy. So I don't know.
I agree.
Gronk is ready to get drunk and retire from the NFL after this victory on Sunday.
Yeah, he's all concussioned out, man. It's time. Like I think he's gonna be out of it, man. Like soon as he's
is Gronk gonna even show up to the game, man? There's just too much going on for Gronk. That dude like to party, man.
He's made a lot of money.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Who do you guys got in the Super Bowl, man? Like in all seriousness, emotions aside, let's get some scores out there, predictions.
Hey, man, I'm going to go with the Rams, man. The Rams are a really good team. I think, honestly, that the Patriots are going to underestimate this team. I think in their minds, in the mind of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and Gronk, which is the axis of evil, they believe the Rams are, what's the word I'm looking for, where they're not as good as they say they are. They don't believe the hype. And I think the Rams are a lot better than their hype says they are. They're actually a really, really good team. And I believe Patriots are going to take over real quickly. They're going to be up 17-3. And then I think in the second half, Rams are going to beat them by a field goal.
And as long as the officiating staff has some people from Southern California on it, the Rams will pull out.
It never rains in Southern California.
I'm saying that because I didn't like what happened with the Saints.
Yeah,
I mean the Rams got a free ticket, you know.
No. Do not feel sorry for the punk Saints.
They're not punks.
They did the same thing Seattle did. All they had to do was run the ball, and we would never came to that play. They would be playing New England in the Super Bowl.
Close as Seattle was at that. Seattle was like right at the 5-yard line.
With Marshawn Lynch.
Raw Dawg. All they had to do was run the ball. They would have had to use their timeouts.
That may be the case, but that was obviously a pass interference.
But it never would have happened if Sean Payton would have ran the ball on first and second down.
Whether he ran the ball or not, that pass interference was obvious. It wasn't even like, and that might not be. He literally went after the guy and knocked him out before the ball even got to him.
Yeah, but he's saying if they would have ran the ball, he would have never thrown the ball.
Thank you.
It's so easy to say that. It's so easy to go, well, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm talking about the actual play itself. Had the play had been called the way it was supposed to have been called, they could have just ran the clock out.
And
if Sean Payton would have played the call the way he's supposed to call it, it never would have got to that.
But that's either said or done, man. That's armchair coaching right there. That's what you're doing. You're armchair coaching. I'm talking about the play itself. The play itself. Talk about that. Was that a pass interference? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Was it?
It was a pass interference. But
no. Was it a pass interference or not?
Mookie. They also had a chance to stop the Rams before the Rams went down to kick the field goal. They also got the ball back and threw an interception.
Crap, Jay. I asked you, was it a pass interference? Because if it hadn't been a pass interference like it should have been, there's no point of going, they could have ran it, they should have ran it. They would have ran the clock out, hit the field goal, and won the game.
But they could have did that 2 plays prior.
That's beside the point. That's beside the point. I'm talking
That
about
play would have never happened.
We're not talking about plays that didn't happen. I'm talking about a play that actually happened. That was a pass interference. Straight up. Everybody and Stevie Wonder saw it. Okay? Now,
No, he did not see it.
Yeah, he saw it.
Continue.
Yeah, he saw it. And if they had called it the way it was supposed to have been called, we wouldn't be saying coulda, woulda, shoulda. That would have been beyond the point. You can say coulda, woulda, shoulda about every single play in the NFL. But we're talking about a play that actually happened.
All right, so
like when old dude didn't catch the ball.
I knew that was coming up, Jay.
That actually
I was gonna say it,
and if he gonna go there, just like your Bears, if they would have not put your boy Cody in that situation, the kick wouldn't have got blocked.
Yeah, well, Cody, I don't even disagree with that. Cody sucked. I don't even disagree with that. That was a bad play on the coach's move. That's not nothing to throw at me. That's true. I agree with you. But that play again with the Saints, that was a pass interference. Should have been called. Saints would have ran the clock down, kicked the field goal, not have been in the game.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but they sitting at home watching the game.
You did the same thing. You did the same shoulda, woulda, coulda. You're trying to get back. All I asked you was the play a pass interference or not? And you said yes, and that's all I want to hear.
No, but then you started to be petty, bringing up something from 2015 when nobody even brought up the Cowboys. So I had to bring up Cody Parkey's in the Chicago Bears. That's all I'm saying.
And we lasted longer than y'all did.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That is a lie.
Oh.
We lasted 6 days later, 6 more days than the Bears.
I don't believe that at all. You
guys lost. Y'all lost in the wild card. We won a game, and then we lost in the divisional round to the Rams.
So
Patriots will win 34-28.
So Roger Goodell's been kind of busy. He's actually said that wasn't a blown call, and he's the commissioner, so that must be true.
Yeah, but Roger Goodell can get these lust hands on his face, man.
Ooh, I regret saying that. Roger Goodell also said that NFL teams will be interested in picking up Kaepernick if he could help them win. This is not a good look for Roger Goodell. We don't know what this is going to look like in the long haul, making statements of that nature.
And Goodell can go to, you know where he can go.
Jail.
Opposite of heaven. That's
jail.
Because Roger Goodell he just talking that mess right now, man. He ain't making absolutely no sense. How you the commissioner and won't admit that the refs made a mistake when the refs admit they made a mistake? What kind of dumb stuff is that?
He's playing his role as the commissioner.
Shut up, Roger. Just shut up. Your name's Roger. You don't need to be talking.
Go home, Roger.
If y'all think Raw Dawg is angry right now, we about to talk about the Pro Bowl for the next 20 minutes.
Kill the Pro Bowl.
But he hates all All-Star games, so we won't.
No, I don't. I like the NBA All-Star game. I don't like football's All-Star game. It just has no personality, man.
No, it's tag football. So, they don't even take people to the ground on all plays. They blow the whistle real quick.
And they pat each other on the butt. You know what I mean? That's a tackle.
I actually watched that happen Sunday. Someone pat someone on the butt, and the ref blew the whistle. So, yeah, that's what they do. All right, man. So it's time for us to get into our hood topic, a little bit more serious. Going to walk away from sports for a second. Although that was a very intense round of NFL conversation, and I didn't have much to do with it at all. That's pretty cool.
You usually don't, bro. You usually just let us go at it.
Yeah, that's how I keep my sanity and entertainment. So our serious topic, and I want to frame this as a serious.
Hold up. Before you start the serious topic, I just want to quote Chris on one of the funniest things he's ever written. He said, "No way the guy that sang Rainy Days can put together a criminal enterprise." Chris, that was funny, sir.
Yeah, that's true.
Carry on, bro.
Oh, Murder Inc. Good for laughter now. So
sorry.
Jesse Smollett was beat very badly. A noose was put around his neck, and allegedly the people who did it said this is MAGA country. And I want to bring this topic up on a bunch of different levels because there's so many different layers to the assault that this man faced. One being coming from the angle of us living in a homophobic society. The other one, us living in a society that is just riddled with racism. And I think it's time for us to really just be more like we've always talked about these issues, but I think there are certain issues that it's like, okay, this isn't going to be a big deal in the media in a month or two. People won't care, but I want to make sure that we state our place and our position on these type of subjects, and not let these subjects go and just say, okay, well, we're praying for them, but there's serious conversations that need to be had. And we've never been scared to bring up these type of topics on the Barbershop 918. And I just want to be responsible to bring it up from those different angles, because it's easy for us to just get mad and say, "Oh, Trump supporters are now feeling emboldened," and that's a true statement from I think from all of our standpoint, if you're watching and paying attention. But we also know that there's some things that we need to talk about and be aware of, and really just process it out as a community, and just get into it. So I want to ask this question, and we've talked about this before, but I want to ask this question from the angle of how do you think we're journeying as a people when it comes to, as black men, specifically since it's three black men talking, where do you think we're journeying with the issue of being homophobic?
Man, I think that I think we've come a long way. I don't think we're where we need to be. I still think there's still a little bit of ignorance on our part, a little bit of fear, unnecessarily. you know, with the thought that every gay person wants you, which is ridiculous. Um, but I still think we've all come a long way. I think the homophobia issue has always been there, but none of us, I don't know any of us that don't have a relative who is not part of the LGBTQ community. We all have a relative that, you know, that is affected by that. So when you look at the situation with Jussie Smollett and realize the reason why, you know, he was attacked on two fronts. Number one, possibly because he was homosexual. Number two, because he was a black man. And you think about the people that you know that are in the LGBTQ community, you know, you can't help but get angry about that. You know, that affects you in some kind of way. You wouldn't want somebody that you love being assaulted simply because of who they are, not because of anything that they did. So I think that we have come a long way. We still have some ways to go, um, but hate is hate, regardless of what reason. Whether it's because he's black, gay, straight, whatever. Hate is hate, and there's just no reason for that, man. Um, but be honest with you, in this country, hate is big business, bro. Hate is big business. People make money off of it. You know what I mean? I mean, we're still selling Confederate flags, and we all know what that means. Somebody's selling them. You know, we not that guns equate with hate, but come on, when you think of a bunch of people buying guns, who do you think about? Seriously, you think about just the nice person that's just protecting their home, or Billy Ray, the dude that live in that house down the road by himself who don't like black people. It's big business. Hate is big business. And as long as it continues to make money for somebody, it's not going away.
Jay, let me ask you this question about the same kind of subject matter. How important is it for us as men to step in a role and be vocal about wanting to protect everyone in our community? Not just because, it's perceived that, like, as a man, you protect women and children, and that is a priority, and that's first. But when we see our brothers being beat and our sisters, being beat and taken advantage of because of their sexuality, do you feel like it's important that we have to be vocal about these type of things?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, we can't have the same mindset we had back in the mid 90s or the early 90s where, we were quick to call somebody who was of a different preference, like different names and everything like that. We're in a different generation, and we also are more mature now than we were 20, 25 years ago. Like we just have to, protect our families and protect, our neighborhood and protect our fellow brothers and sisters because, the world has changed. I'm not saying because Trump is in office now, like it's changed to a point where we just have to step up and be leaders because right now we're not doing that because these things is happening right now. Like I went back and read like the stuff that was going on with the young man. Like it read like an episode of Empire, like where he was getting hate mail and the fan letters and everything, and then they even threw bleach on him. And now I just got a report saying that a person of interest was caught on a surveillance video committing that act. But we just need to just come together and be a united front as one and take care of each other because we got to get rid of this hate because that's what's killing our country right now is hate
Now,
amongst everybody.
a lot of people are placing a lot of blame in the area of just saying, okay, they hear MAGA hat. That's the first thing. It's like, okay, that's coming from a hateful place. We had an event at the Indigenous People March, which took place over Martin Luther King weekend, where a young man wearing the hat, or a group of young people wearing the hat, had an altercation with some Hebrew Israelites, and the Native American people that were there for their event intervened. We got this polarizing picture of this kid with a smirk on his face in front of this Native American elder, and that took off from there. Now we have another situation where someone says this is MAGA country, and so now this brand is being associated with hate on so many different levels, or being associated with hate crimes, not just hate, because I think a lot of us are associated with hate before, regardless if it's biased, wrong, right, or indifferent, we have associated with it. But now it's being associated with crimes and it's being associated with disrespectful behavior. How do we process? How do we process this, man, and still be somewhat objective about what we're seeing, but on the same token, let our let our opinions and voices be heard?
It's hard to be objective, man. It's really hard to be objective um, when I could say probably each person on this show has had to deal with that type of hate before at one form in our lives. Out of the three of us on the show, we've all dealt with that type of treatment because of the color of our skin. So man, it's really hard to be objective in those kind of situations, man. I don't know how you can do it. Um, the one thing I fear is that we become desensitized because of social media. We see stuff on social media all the time that delve into, dang near hate crimes, or we see a blurb from Yahoo about Jesse Smollett or anybody else. We go, wow, that's messed up, and then we swipe. Are we being desensitized to it?
Yeah.
Whereas before social media, when that stuff happened, it would rile us up.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, wow, okay, that's messed up.
And I think we've had several incidents over the course of the past year with the young man in St. Louis with the noose are being found hung. Then there's the young men who were lynched in Oklahoma. And then there's this where he had, where this young man had a noose put around his neck. These are clear signs that we're returning to this place. Like the post-Obama era is this era where groups of people are saying we're going to go back to a place of hate. We're going to go back to a place where we're putting African Americans in this place, and we're putting other minority groups in their places that we feel comfortable with. And so people fear what they can't control, and they definitely fear what they don't understand. And with us being minorities, we fall into those categories. And I think for me, it's made me stiffen my language a lot. Like I definitely will no longer make statements of reconciliation when it's been very clear that we've never been reconciled with America in the way that we should. There's always been a rift. There's always been issues of equality, and it's just our voice is going to have to get louder because now we're in. I feel like this conversation is important to have because it's a real danger out there for you now, and it's not. We're not like trying to evoke like panic or anything, but it's a real danger. Like my family is my son just started driving. We're concerned he won't make it home every day because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
We live in, you can't go 20 minutes outside of the city before, and we live in the north, but you can't go 20 minutes outside of the city without you hitting country. And what's going to happen once you're in the country? And these things, it brings it back to, I almost want a green book again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I know where I'm safe to go.
Safe places.
Yeah, and these are some of the sad things that we're still living with. But we have a voice
here's
now.
The thing, though, Drew. We're always being asked to reconcile. We are always being asked to reconcile, but not the other side. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, and that's where I'm saying the language has to be very clear. Reconciliation is not something that's possible when we were never reconciled. Like we were never together. There was never a time and a place. And I'm not gonna revisit anything. We have to move forward, and I'm gonna use my voice boldly and let you and that means people who are listening to this may sit uncomfortable. For example, when we first broached this conversation, there was 6 or 7 people listening on the Facebook Live, and it dropped to 2. And so that tells you right then and there that it's like, yeah, if we're making a monkey dance and you laughing and you joking, it's all good. But once we talk about some real subjects that people may not want to necessarily, well, that's not entertaining, I can click off. But that shouldn't stop our voice. We're going to have to start taking these conversations into places, whether it means, you make some people uncomfortable at church, especially, or if it makes somebody uncomfortable at work or wherever it is that you feel that you need to bring it. These conversations need to be brought because I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die without fighting. Right. And I'm going to use this voice and we're going to use this voice. We're not going to die without, like if somebody, it feels like if we're under attack as a people and it's being real clear, then it's time for us to wake up and start uniting. And it's going to have to start with our words. And then we're going to have to get into action and deed on this.
I got you. I agree 100%.
J-Rocc, the educator of the crew. How do you think kids are processing some of the stuff that they see, man? Do you think they're getting desensitized as well?
I mean, I see it every day, in my field of work and everything. And it's like you have the ones who have that 1998 mindset of when we were in high school. Then you have the ones who are, they accept these things. And it's like, it's like you have to have this conversation over and over with kids. Like, not everybody who's gay or lesbian are approaching you trying to get with you. It's just that the first thing you think is, simple as if they're using something or if they're, in a group or something with you, you feel as if you're going to get the cooties or something like that. Like the gay vibes or the lesbian vibes are going to roll off on you and everything. But it's not like that. We have to educate ourselves and realize not everybody is like that. We have to accept people for what they are. That is what they identify as. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do, and you should accept that. Just like you identify as something, and they accept you for that, you have to identify and accept them for what they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, we've talked about that. Now it's time for us to get into something a little bit lighter, man. We're gonna talk. I don't know how light this can be, but we're gonna talk NBA.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to get into a little bit of Thunder talk. Thunder's on a 6-game winning streak, so that might be a little lighter of a conversation.
It looks good, man.
Something a little
bit. PG-13, baby.
Yeah. And, it's so funny. If James Harden wasn't on the tear that he's on, I would almost say, Raw Dawg, you was right in your MVP prediction for Paul George. But it pretty much is going to take something special like CP3 to slow down James Harden from getting the MVP.
They need to stop. They need to start calling traveling on James Harden. How about that?
When Steph Curry, who's sort of like the face of it, they love Steph, right? When Steph is out there making fun of the fact, because, you saw where he got called for the same travel that Harden gets called for, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna pretend like this is a 1 in front of that." Like when he
Right.
did that, I knew it was over. Like it's clear. I'm not saying that the league has an agenda, but I think it comes to a point where you know how you know you wrong, but you dig your heels in. I think that's
Yep.
where the refs are. It's like, dude, y'all know y'all wrong, but it's like if you start calling it now, what about these last 2-3 years of him fouling, of his stream of offensive fouls and his stream of traveling? Because he's been doing it.
He been doing it, bro.
But you got he's mastered it. It's like you either gonna accept him driving to the basket and you fouling him where he puts his arms out because his forearms are so strong you can't even knock the ball out, or if you're trying to defend him on the perimeter, he's gonna get you to foul him. So it's like you darned if you do, darned if you don't on what you do.
Have you noticed that that's where his muscle definition is? Like he's not like swole in any other areas, but like them forearms.
He's Paul's Pierce with Mr. T forearms.
Yeah.
He's man early stages. That's what he is.
So Anthony Davis requested a trade. So it looks like Ball and Ingram are gonna have, they all gonna be reunited. So it looks like the 2017, 2016 Lakers are about to be the Pelicans because they already got
hilarious.
Julius Randle over there waiting. He's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go where I know my team is gonna catch up with me eventually. So
it's gonna be Anthony Davis and LeBron. That's it.
But sometimes I feel like that's all LeBron needs. Like, I think him and Lance Stevenson, more likely they'll trade Lance. I don't know why, but I just feel
everybody's on the trading block.
Yeah, everybody can get it, and that's sad. I think even Rondo Rondo did good. He's doing good when he's in there, but I think they would send Rondo back to the Pelicans. Sad enough, but I think it's one of those things, man, where I'm looking at it and it's like, if they get that, I think the Lakers instantly. Here's the question I have for you guys: do the Lakers leapfrog with Anthony Davis? Do they leapfrog the Oklahoma City Thunder as being like that number 2, number 3 team in the league?
No,
in the West, I should say.
I don't think so. I see. Here's the thing: people just assume that you could just throw another star in the run and automatically, the team's going to be just dominant. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case anymore. As LeBron is still a dominant force in the NBA, but come on, he's getting older. You know what I mean? He's every year that he stays in the league, he loses a little bit of a step.
This was a long injury to him.
Yeah. So
he ain't hurt. I'll let you finish. I got my rant.
You don't know about that man's groin.
Yeah, why you doubting his groin, man?
No,
you keep your left hands off his groin.
Did you get a chance to personally examine his groin? Did you?
Pause. I'm gonna be conspiracy rock. Continue, Raw Dawg.
Okay.
Go ahead, J-Rocc.
That was funny.
Okay. I love LeBron James as when he's playing basketball, but I dislike LeBron James as the GM, the businessman, and everything because he's making the league worse. Like he got hurt on Christmas Day, and so he went on this steroid vacation where he sits out like 5 to 7 games, but it's went from 5 to 7 to like 13 games, and like right now, I feel as if he's trying to stay out as long as he can so they can fire Luke Walton. I feel like they can get Luke Walton fired so that they can bring in a LeBron guy. I don't know who it's going to be. Monty Williams, the Brian Shaw or whatnot, but it's going to be a LeBron guy. And as far as with the whole thing with Anthony Davis, he blatantly came out and said, I would love to see Anthony Davis play for the Los Angeles Lakers. And so I like that the GM Dimps for the Pelicans said, I ain't picking up the phone. Y'all can cut that out. And the trade deadline is next Thursday.
Oh, he's picking up the phone. He's picking up the phone.
But the Pelicans, I just got an alert on my phone that the Pelicans, they have taken Anthony Davis out of the intro video because of the comments that he made.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. They ain't picking up the phone because they then already answered the emails and everything else and was in person. Like it's a done deal. We know he's headed there. And I find the hypocrisy kind of odd that LeBron can come out and say, "I want Anthony Davis," and Anthony Davis says, "I want out," but he gets a $50,000 fine.
Teflon Don.
Man.
Teflon Bron.
LeBron. He is who he says he is.
Yeah. Now let's talk about let's shift to talking about the Thunder. And here's the interesting thing about the Thunder: it's a 6-game winning streak right now, right? So there's two things that have come to surface that I've mentioned. Abrinas is now back on the bench, but Billy Donovan's statement was he's not in a position to play yet.
What's that mean?
Once again, I think anytime and I'm not just scratching my nose, that's that international sugar booger.
Sugar booger.
Candy has made him. But that was the same way they handled Mitch McGary. Like he was in no position to play for a little while, and he had a real bad opioid issue, and that's kind of the way the NBA handles it because they're one of the leagues that don't front you out for being on drugs or failing a drug test. And they say things like he's in no position to play, or something else could have happened. I don't know, but as we are progressing and pieces are starting to get back together, do you think the Thunder are gonna be able to like take over that spot that Denver's kind of been possessing throughout the year? Do you think we're going to get over that hump and be the number 2 team, or do you think we're just going to stay in that 3rd or 4th round?
I mean, honestly, I want us to stay away from the Rockets. I don't want to see them in the playoffs. Anybody else outside of the Rockets, I think the Thunder can defeat. I feel as if they just keep with this formula that they have right now. T. Ferg, Jeremy Grant, they're playing great ball right now. And Ricky Bell's son, he played good defense on the Greek Freak.
Nerlens
Noel Bell. He played great defense on the Greek Freak. I mean, in fact, the whole team, they played good team defense this past Sunday against the Bucks, who are the best team in the league. Giannis had 7 of his shots blocked. That's the most in his career. So this is probably the most athletic team that we've ever had in Oklahoma City in the 10 years that they've been here. If Russ continues to give the ball to PG in clutch situations, the sky's the limit for this team. But if Russ goes back to, I haven't took my medicine and I want to take over a game, we're going to run into those issues.
Well, Russell isn't even playing that well, to be honest with you. He's still having some shooting woes.
He's hurt.
And that's the reason why he's kind of conceded to PG. But PG-13 has hit some game winners, man. In the 6-game winning streak, he's hit some buzzer shots. So I think, Coach trusts PG with the ball in his hand. If Russell can get out of this little shooting slump, we might be something fierce, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But who's to say? I don't know, because maybe it's a curse. It's a curse and a gift, because if he does get out of this shooting slump, then he'll shoot more.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
I think the other thing is as a team, we need to get out of this free throw shooting slump that we've been in.
Yes.
And I think we would have been able to give Russ more rest, because we tend to always let the gap get closed on us in that the end of the 3rd, early 4th quarter. It's sort of like we take a quarter off, but we shift it between the end of the 3rd and the beginning of the 4th. And but the thing that can always seal that space up for us is free throws. We get sent to the line way too many times, and it's the factor that they're now instituting a hack of Adams. That's bad. That Adams has gained that reputation as one of the worst free throw shooters. And Russ, with this whole, I think he's a professional and he needs to take some time to go back and get right and not just be so stuck on the idea that, because they took his tradition for free throw shooting away, that's not an excuse. He's going to have to, refigure this out. He can't go Markelle Fultz on us at the free throw line all year just because they don't let him take a deep breath in. So that's it for the Thunder, man. Unless you guys got something else.
We needed that struggle face, baby.
J-Rocc?
Struggle face. Oh, no.
Do you got one?
Yeah, the struggle face of the week is the NFL for the Pro Bowl. I'm not a fan of the Pro Bowl being the week before the Super Bowl because you get you don't get the effort that you got back in '92, where everybody was excited to go to Hawaii and play. Like right now, it's it's just terrible. Like you get the players, like it's a flag football game right now. Why is Mike Evans playing cornerback? Why is Jalen Ramsey playing wide receiver? Why is
Yeah.
Adam Thielen playing quarterback? That's it's just embarrassing. I missed the Pro Bowl from years ago when Sean Taylor was putting the punter on his back. I miss those days, and it's sad that it's more of a reward to go. If you lose in the Super Bowl, if you're losing the Super Bowl, you get more money as a winner in the Pro Bowl. So it's like, why does someone like Todd Gurley get punished for not going to the Pro Bowl because he's going to the Super Bowl? I feel like they should have the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl after they have played in it. Like I feel like the NFL should move it back to the week after the Super Bowl so everybody can get a chance to play in it.
And I don't
But
necessarily feel that it has to go back to Hawaii. Um, but I definitely feel like Orlando's not the a good final destination for it though.
two straight years it's rained.
Yeah. So it's if you want to keep it in those warmer climates, that's fine. But I think there could be a better celebration around it if you moved it to other warmer climates. You could definitely even move it to Dallas, and people would still surround Dallas if you made enough of an event around it. But I get it. I mean, maybe even take it to Mexico. Never know.
Nah, they don't know how to work the turf.
They
They don't know
don't.
how to fix the turf.
I still say that cost us that game against the Rams.
Cut
But
people's heads off, man.
Standard, but that's another story.
yeah. All right, man. It's time for our final cut. J-Rocc, you up first.
All right. As this month comes to the end, it's been a rough month for me. Like most of the viewers know, I lost my father on January 1st. But one of my fans during this grieving process, one of my employees, one of my instructors, he lost his father on Martin Luther King Day, and then one of my other instructors, she lost her father 4 days after my father passed away. And so this is just like one of those times where you just want to reach out to the ones around you because it's so much grief going on as far as with anniversaries, people losing their mothers, fathers, spouses, siblings, and everything. And it's just important that I always check on those ones who says they're all right because they may need somebody just to give them a hug or just give them a phone call and just talk to them. So check on those ones who are grieving right now because you never know. They can put a smile on, they can be smiling, but they're hurting on the inside. So check on those people. And like I say, every week, winners win and losers lose. They always find a way to do what they do. It's J-Rocc with the Barber Shop 918, and I'm out.
Man, I just like I said earlier in the show, just had a birthday recently. This past Saturday. Proud to say that I'm 47 years old, man. I don't take birthdays lightly, and there's a reason for that. I came from the west side of Chicago. West side of Chicago was pretty rough. Uh, Luckily, my mom had the intelligence to move us out of the city here in Oklahoma. But I still had a lot of partners from back in the day, man, here in Oklahoma, who aren't here or are in jail. And here I am at 47. I've never been to jail, don't have a record, I ain't never been shot at. That's a blessing, man. So every birthday to me is a blessing. Every day that I get older as a black man is a blessing. Because there ain't a lot of us out here, getting older. So I thank God every day that I wake, man, and for every birthday, I give him praise for allowing me to exist just because. Not for any other particular reason, just because. And with that, man, don't tell God about your big problems. Tell your problems you got to be God. And I'm out.
All right.
I'm out.
All right.
That's out.
Yeah. Just in case y'all wasn't sure, he's out. So I want to talk about Jim Howard today. He was a mega church pastor who took his own life recently, and his family is, we're definitely going to be praying for his family, and it's a devastating thing. But I want to draw a point to two things that we've talked about on the show before. You got to definitely check in on your leaders, all the different individuals that are in your life that have a leadership role. They can come across really strong and seem like they've got everything figured out, but you still need to check on them every now and then because you never know what someone's going through. You never know how life is affecting them. So be sure to check on them and make sure that you ask some of the hard questions and make sure that the people that you love and you care about are taking care of their mental health and they're doing the things that they need to do. And really, once you know someone is saying things that are suicidal, make the adjustments, do what you're supposed to do in order to get them the help that's needed or to just pay closer attention to them and check in on them a little bit more. And remember, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. We love you guys for listening, and thank you for listening to the Barbershop 918. Make sure you check us out at
TheBarbershop918.com. What episode is this, fellas? Do we even know?
It's in the 100s.
Yo, we got to do better, man. We've got to do better,
It's like
fellas.
128.
Give or take a number. But if you ain't found us yet, you ain't looking for us because we everywhere, man. We on Instagram. We on Twitter. We on Facebook, as you can see. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. Yeah, I said it. We on Spotify, baby.
Anchor.
We on Anchor. We everywhere, man. Everywhere. That's what I said. We are the best sports podcast in the land, the Barbershop 918. You heard it right here first, baby. 128. Oh, so we think so. Give or take a number.
All right.
Who wants numbers? Yeah. The lust hands.
Lust hands, not fingers. All right, we out.
Great show. Great show.
All right.